All right. Welcome into the Questionable Podcast. You got Scotty Questions here with Miko.
What's good, man?
What up, dude? Guess who we got also today? Gian.
Mr. We Were Right.
Oh, here we go again.
I feel like we've been able to ride that way for a couple weeks now. We've been right
Yeah.
on a lot of these picks the last couple weeks.
Well, we can also go
Mhm.
back to early of the season. We are getting more correct on a couple things, actually.
Oh,
But
on our
before-
analysis too. I feel like we're getting dialed in.
Yeah.
I think we've been dialed in. I just think people are starting to listen, like Dan Campbell, those guys. So
Yeah.
that's what's up. Shout out to DC. What's up, man? Please like, follow, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Also head over to questionabletees.com. We got some great stuff. We can get it out before the holidays. If you order the next 2 days, we can get it out. Friends and fam. Special
Yeah.
request too. We can get you out, overnight it. Happy to do it. But I think we're gonna start out again with this.
Let's go. I said the Lions won a game. Man, we going all the way. Baby. We about to celebrate. Why? Because the Lions won a game.
They won another one.
We got to get the other one then. We got to get the other. If they keep
new
winning
one?
games in a row,
The new-
yeah,
yeah.
we got to get
The
the
new one
the
with
Lions
the
one
Hutch.
again.
Hutch gonna get us buff.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one from today I sent. I know it had a lot of other stuff today. We'll get it for next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, we won again. Lions cruise past the Vikings, 34-23. Couple moments in the game got us nervous, but we're gonna talk about all of this. But I just want to shout out real quick to JMO. I got my JMO jersey on, early adopter. Probably one of the first 50 off of fanatics.com because we know the guys over there. Shout out to Fanatics. But anyways,
Yeah. Loyal fans of the YouTube show know that can verify that has been hanging in the background of Scott's
Yes.
wall for months now.
since before the first game. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Since preseason.
Yeah.
That is correct. So having said that, you guys, we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to let Miko take us away here. I think we all have a lot of opinions, but I just want to say this was the first. God, it's been the first couple weeks of my life. It's been exciting to be a Lions fan. It's been happy. I feel like fulfilled. I'm like driving home from Grand Rapids being like not wanting to drive off the road. It's been one of those like thank goodness. I mean, and don't get me wrong, at the end of the game, it was tight. Like, don't give Jefferson another chance. Please don't. And Panay came through, I mean, we got a lot to talk about, but and I think the entire community is taking a deep breath. I think we're all taking a deep breath.
Oh, people are doing more than taking a deep breath. People are taking people are taking a line of Honolulu Kool-Aid right now. They have like the largest line they possibly can and just straight to the head.
Just chalked up.
Just straight to the dome. It's like you said, no, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, and John and I were in agreement on this. Like, I didn't sit down that entire game. It just because as in control as the Lions were at times, it still felt like it could get away at any moment. Like at any moment, something could go wrong, and we'd be playing from behind. And I think that's the one thing that's been fairly consistent these last couple of weeks is that the Lions have been able to not just get leads, but maintain leads. So they're never having to like really claw back into a game because they're just continuing to pile on the points, continuing to keep their opponents at bay from kickoff to the end of the game. And that's another thing that we saw in this game. So that was probably one of the big takeaways that I walked away with after just kind of like digesting the game is like, these guys have proven time and time again that they can definitely get a lead and hold a lead in these last 5 to 6 games. It's been one of the defining traits of this team going this late into the season.
Yeah, my family was in town, my mom and dad. And,
Dr. Tom was in town, the diagnosis.
Yeah.
I was hoping he'd be here tonight.
No, I drove him to the airport bright and early this morning. Dark and early, actually.
Did we get any sound bites? Did we get any angry sound bites?
No, because like he wasn't like he wasn't really all that angry, but he did like my mom and dad were they were very reserved, like because they like to Miko's point, like my dad kept waiting for the fourth quarter collapse and like was sure it was coming,
Oh yeah, here it
convinced
comes.
it was coming. And I'm like, no, dad, like these are not the same old Lions. Hashtag brand new Lions. And as has been
Yeah,
going
no.
around. But no, he was like very impressed because like I've been telling him for like weeks, months now about what's been going on. He really only watches college these days. Last couple years, and so he kind of got back into the Lions. And when they were 1-6, man, he was giving me so much shit. He's like, like what? Like I thought you told me. He's like,
Right.
you do a show about this. I thought you know
Right.
what you're talking about. And I was like, just patience,
Yes.
just patience.
Oh, go ahead, John.
What's that? Oh no,
No, I was-
and so it finally, it's like these last 6 weeks, and he has been watching these like last couple months, like this season. So these last couple of weeks, he's actually been saying, you know what, they look pretty good. They look pretty good.
Pretty good. So driving back from Grand Rapids, I call John just to like check in, like what's up, and like I'm on speaker and Dr. Tom's there, and he's like, "What about these Lions, huh? You know that he's like they're okay." Like I'm like, "No, they're good, man. They just won, big win." He goes, "Well, we'll see, we'll see." I'm like, "Tom,
Yeah.
like what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, we'll see, we'll see." Like, it's just like we'll see.
Yeah. No,
We are-
he
we are witnessing. We are witness to the brand new Lions. What are you talking about? Like we are witnessing a change. He goes, I don't know. I don't know. Still need some guys, which is true, which is
Yeah.
fair.
But I think it speaks to like the generational. I mean, I'm almost 40, and I've known nothing but like the best record that I can remember is I was too young. I wasn't really paying attention during the Barry years. So for me, Lions success is that like one stretch of like Schwartz when he was just a crazy person, and Sue and Fairley, and they were just like monsters. And then Caldwell, like the 9-7 years, and like that's
May
it.
the sports be with you.
And
Yeah,
like
but
to
even
me, like
those-
that's been Lion's success. So like, but he has experienced. He bought his first television to watch the first Super Bowl, and like he's one of those like 50 years of failure. He's one of those. Like he's 100% one of those
Well,
guys.
I kind of don't blame him. If that was me, I'd be ornery too. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let's be fair.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's the thing but that's also the thing that makes this feel different is
Yes.
John, like you laid it out, like, yes, the Lions went to the playoffs with Schwartz. Or at least they were in the hunt to go to the playoffs or went to the playoffs with Schwartz. They went to the playoffs with Caldwell, but like those teams never really felt like they had a chance. They just felt like they were really taking advantage of schedules or, weak schedules or late game comebacks, the whole comeback cats type of thing, and Matthew Stafford and all of his fourth quarter comebacks, which were great and they were exciting. But it was the same stuff that the Lions are doing then was what like the Minnesota Vikings are doing now, or what the New York Giants were doing early in the season, where it's like, yeah, they're winning, but it's not convincing. It's really just having that never say die mentality, and that's what was able to put them over the hump. And that's why I said, like, that's the other thing that feels different is that, like, it's not just coming from behind, it's jumping out to leads, first, second possessions, getting points, and then being like, no, we are going to continue to tack on points. This
Control,
Minnesota
yeah.
game, this Minnesota game, they scored a touchdown in every quarter. First quarter touchdown, second quarter touchdown, third quarter touchdown, 13 points in the fourth quarter to just
Football
put
to
it
my
a-
dad.
to just put it away. And that's a different thing to be the team that has to be chased, to have a different mentality, because it really is, the game is in your hands. And I think Dan Campbell has proven, at least at this point in the season, that he knows how to handle those moments way better, probably than he did a year ago, and definitely better than he did early in the season.
Miko, here's a perfect example. Minnesota. We were in the similar situation as the first game,
Mm-hmm.
We didn't make the mistake, right? We didn't, they did the right thing. Now, what's funny, and we saw like Dan Campbell pretending like he didn't know what's going on, right, with the
Yeah.
play calls. I think that's
Yeah.
right. That's a farce. Good job, DC. Playing the people, playing the other coaches. But no, he knew. I mean, they knew, but like they did the right thing. And that was, to me, that was the combination of smart and balls.
Yes.
And luck. Smart, balls, and luck. He knew the timing to do it.
Sounds like my Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Nico's having fun.
don't tell the wife. We go.
Oh, she knew. Somebody had
She's
to handle
having
the
fun
snap.
too.
Somebody has to handle the snap.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, I'm not naming names. But anyway, I think that to me was the coolest thing. It was like, it felt like it all made sense for the first time. Like it all just made sense. It happened. You got your bounces, you got your luck, but like, because they're doing the right thing, and they have been giving the same effort since preseason to now, and it's paying off. And they believe, right? And they believe they're going to get it done, and they get it done. And so they got it done. And they did their jobs. And they did their jobs, per Mika.
Execution.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I feel like the effort has been definitely on the defensive side. The effort has been upped because we are seeing them execute and hit on a different like cadence defensively. I mean, I think it was the first run play that Dalvin Cook got, and just, I believe it was either Deshaun Elliott or Mike Hughes, but like just coming off the edge and tackle for loss. And it was just like, oh, this is how this is going to get played. Like they are dialed in. And Justin Jefferson definitely had a big game,
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins was dialed in, 400 yards passing. Like this had the making of a Lions like letdown for sure. Going back to what we were saying earlier about like how it felt like this could always, because they were still going up and down the field. They were still getting their big plays, but just when it started to feel like things were starting to fall off, like the defense would tighten up just enough, holding them to, getting a third down stop, or
right before halftime,
forcing a fumble.
You kidding me? Never saw that coming. I was sitting there with Calvin Johnson. Calvin's like, oh, that's what's up. I'm like,
whoa, wait. Scott, just way to bury the lead there. You were watching the game with Calvin Johnson?
Yes.
And then just
we're 14 minutes into this and you're bringing that up now?
Correct. Yes.
Respect. Honestly,
just another Sunday.
Oh man. Okay. Well, we will get into that later. We have too much show to get to.
I was filming Calvin at an event, so I didn't really get to watch the game. I had to rewatch the game I was filming. And so, but at that moment, right, like I was filming Calvin in space, and he just goes, that's what's up. And I'm like, I'm like, oh shit, fumble, Kirby. Okay. And then the only other part of the game while we're on it is when Jefferson had the one-hander toward the end of the game that he couldn't get, like on the sideline. And I go,
yeah,
Cal, you'd have got that. He goes, man, I don't know anybody that could have got that. And I go, you could have. And he goes, probably.
Yeah, Calvin's like, what, 3 inches taller?
Yeah, I had to convince him, though. He goes, man, ain't nobody getting that. I'm like, he fingertipped it. I go, you could have caught it. He goes, probably. Just, guy's so humble. It's hysterical. Like, yeah, you would have caught that 1,000%.
And I think that was another thing that like helped the Lions in this game, is that you had guys making big time catches for big time plays. I mean, Jameson, first touchdown, broken play, the touchdown pass to Chark. Like it was a perfect storm of Goff having his best game to this point, which is crazy because I feel like we've been saying this for like the last 3 weeks, where it's like, oh, this is Goff's best game. Nope, this is his best game. This felt like his best game because it had to be. Like it just, if Goff doesn't have the game he has, they're not in it. The run game was non-existent in this game. And so Goff really did have to kind of nut up and be the guy.
Mika, which is amazing you say that, because a lot of what he got in this game was all play action. Even though the run wasn't there, everything, all the big plays were all play action. And yeah, a lot of it. Miko sent the link of the QB that link, like all of the big plays are all play action. That's
Oh,
where
yeah, the
Goff,
QB school. Yeah.
that's where Goff gets in his rhythm. That's where he's most comfortable. He's got the play action. He turns, and he doesn't have time to think. So this is my analysis. He turns, he doesn't have time to think, and he just reacts and he plays natural. If he sits there and looks, he overthinks it, in my opinion. Now, Goff for the last 5 games has completed 70% of his passes, 1,300 yards, 8 TDs, and no picks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, just while we're talking about it, last 5 games, not the season, but 5 games.
Dude's been on the last 5 games, and he's taking advantage of what the defense is giving him in these games, in my opinion. It's a lot of off coverage. It's a lot of space giving to these receivers, and it's a crazy thing to do when you think about the guys that are on this team and how they operate best. St. Brown works amazingly in space, so you're going to give him off coverage and you're going to just allow him to run to the middle of the field. Okay. DJ Chark is a speedster. You're just going to play off and not get hands on him and let him beat you over the top. Okay. Same with Josh Reynolds, silky smooth in his route running, and you're just going to like give him this space. And to Scott's point, this is where Jared Goff can just be like time based in his progressions, where it's play action, take a couple steps, and then just anticipate where guys are going to be. In the link that I sent you guys, I believe his name is JT Sullivan, who was going through and doing this breakdown. Like,
he's
that's
awesome.
exactly what he's like. That's really what he's outlining is like, okay, boom, he's in rhythm. He can anticipate because it's play action. And the funny thing is, like, he's saying, like, clearly this has been tailored to him because some of these plays should not work or aren't really ideal for play action.
Right.
But because of how Goff's mind works and how he processes plays, it has to be this way.
Totally. And to my point, real quick, John. Yes, Miko. Yeah, and what I got from that, like you said, is that just because he doesn't think. I think, and I have a little similarity with him. The more that I didn't think in soccer and hockey, the better I was. Like when I was sick or like didn't, like there was stuff like you when you don't think, you're just playing the game. I think when Goff overthinks it, right? When he gets pressure in his face, he's got to think about the guy coming and this and that and that. When he has a minute and he can just do it, it's still not perfect, right? Even in the review, he's saying, this is the difference between a good quarterback and a great quarterback. Because a couple of those throws, if they were in space, that might be a touchdown or another 20 yards or another 10 yards, another 5. Goff he's close. He's throwing it down to make sure it doesn't get picked. But that's him still overthinking, him getting an interception, right? Is what I saw. Because there are guys, right? Their hands everywhere, which I'm starting to realize, which I didn't know. And in the footage I'm seeing, the different angles, dude, the way Goff threw it over and around hands, that might be luck. Minnesota had their hands up like he threw it around a lot of hands on Sunday. And I was like, oh, I didn't see that in the game. I didn't notice that. Hands were up and Goff was like right next to it. I mean, there's like if they touch it, the DJ Chark's not happening, right? Jamos, it was big plays that they were close, but Goff got it done. Gian?
Yeah, no, well, we're kind of off that topic now, but going back to it. Just the
bring it
why
back.
this feels different is you guys were both kind of dancing around it, and I'm just going to say it in my own way. Is that Miko? You said this. This wasn't about heroics, like late in the game, and I think that's very true. In that this isn't one person putting the entire team on his back. Like this is a team effort. When the defense tightened up and did its job, the offense came out and scored. Whether it was a field goal or a touchdown, the offense came out and got points. And so the defense is like, okay, like great. And they just started feeding off of each other and you could feel it. And then that fake punt on their own 26. And then that's just feeding off the energy the coach is giving them. And it's just this gorgeous thing of like, this is a team. Like this isn't, someone just stepping up and playing out of their mind and putting the game on their back. Like this is a discipline, aside from the very opening few plays, few drives, it's quite clean game. But my big takeaways from the game, were two main things I want to touch on. I want your guys' opinion on. Our third down efficiency is ridiculous right now. And I think that's when Ben Johnson is at his most creative. We had that, there was that play where it was like 3rd and 1. I think it was last game against the Jags or maybe even against the Bills. But I think it was Brock Wright was in motion and it was like a sneak run. Straight, like they snapped it quick, handed off. What was it?
That was the Jags game. Yeah.
Yeah. And like just quick 3rd and 1. And it was just, you don't see it coming. And then 3rd down, Penei Sewell. 3rd down, you just see the trickiest stuff. And on 3rd down, and I think that leads perfectly to my next takeaway, which is I was watching Baldy's breakdown, which is fantastic. Love him. And he said he kind of threw this offhanded. And I think and I want to kind of bring it up and talk to you guys about it, because I think there's a lot more truth to what he said than like an offhanded sort of comment. And I think, and it all stems from Dan Campbell. Aaron Glenn, they're cut from the same cloth in the way they are just a physical, gritty, punch you in the mouth team. And I think their entire game plan is like designed to break their opponent's will. And you see this. Baldy brought this up, and then he said, take a look at, let's see. The Lions, what was it? One play. So the Vikings punt. Yeah. So we get a touchdown, and then the Vikings come back and get a touchdown. It's 7-7, and then turnover on downs. Vikings punt, Lions punt, Vikings punt. Very next play, we just take a deep shot to DJ Chark. Gut punch, scores. The Vikings then fumble. That's the Dalvin Cook fumble. Mm-hmm. We come back, we miss the field goal, but then we shut them down. They get the ball to end the half. 2 plays, time runs out, shut them down. They get the ball back at the beginning. They punt, and then we come back and score, eating a lot of time off the clock. And then it was a Josh Reynolds pass. And like all of this stuff, like everything is designed to break your will. Like there's nothing you can do with this. Like say you get them in a 3rd and long. How many 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s did they have? And that's when they busted out their most creative shit. And like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do. And I think that's very much intentional.
I also think it's the people that we have. Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark showing up. I mean, I think that we have the tools in order to do that, right? We have those options. So yes, John, totally to your point. But we have the assets to do that. I mean, they had Justin Jefferson. That's it. They're not throwing a hawk. He can't pick up a block and he's dropping. Like, who else they got? Right? Jalen Rager. Yeah.
Thielen, who got a touchdown.
Thielen,
Dalvin Cook.
Fine. I hate Thielen. I didn't want to talk about.
Because what I'm saying is,
you're right.
I agree. I agree
Thielen's dead to me.
I agree with John's like analysis that this team found ways to continue to keep the pressure on, and I think more so, I think that's a coaching mentality. To your point, John, like I think it's something that this team has wanted to do forever, but again, looking back early into the season, these are throws that Jared Goff was missing, that he wasn't connecting on, that he wasn't. And so I don't think it's necessarily like a new philosophy. I think it's something they've always wanted to do, is like, hey, we have to keep putting on the pressure because teams are not going to quit. Nobody is going to just let you continue to just figure it out. You have to capitalize when you have moments to score or when you have moments to extend drives. And it's a little bit of luck, but I think it's also, luck is when like preparation and execution kind of meet. And that's what you're seeing with this team, is that it's the same type of plays, right? Like it's Jared Goff is now hitting Josh Reynolds on these out routes to the sideline instead of sailing them out of bounds. He's he's holding in the pocket and taking hits and delivering because he's just gonna be like, okay, fine. I'm going to trust that DJ Chark is going to hit his spot. I'm going to trust that Khalif is going to hit his spot, and I can sail this pass in there. And I think it's him getting a little bit better and better understanding of what defenses are doing. And again, like I've said this the last couple of weeks, I don't think Jared Goff is hard to game plan for, but teams for some reason these last couple of weeks refuse to play man coverage. They refuse to do it. And so if you allow your defense to play zone and off coverage, Ben Johnson and Jared Goff are going to eat you up because now he doesn't have to worry about fitting passes into tight windows. To Scott's point, the worst thing that he has to worry about is that your defense and can anticipate his throw patterns.
Right.
That's when you're going to have to get in trouble. That's when you may get in trouble because if we remember, that was something that Jared Goff dealt with last year and early in the season was getting a lot of passes batted down because people kind of had a general understanding of when he was going to throw something.
And they still have it. He just, Miko, they were there. Like I rewatched the game 3 times condensed. Their hands, they were there. They knew where he was throwing. They just were. It was, now I don't know if that's Goff or them, whatever. I'm gonna give it to Goff. Like he's recognizing that they're doing that, so he's got to fit it. But what you said, Miko, was trust that really hit me. Is trust for all of them, for Goff especially, trusting the guys to be there. Trusting, I mean, some of the tosses, right? They were early tosses. He's trusting the guys are going to be there. Not perfect, but he threw it before they turned and they were there. So that's huge. Trust.
Yeah.
And then trust on the defense side that they're going to make a stop. Like the trust within the entire team, offense, defense right now is like, no, we got you. And the offense is like, no, we got you. No, we got you. No, we got you. And then Jameson and Jamal are just dancing. Like, yeah, we got you too. Like literally, like that's the team. Like Jamal dancing is just the vibe of the Lions. Like, let's be honest. Like, it's just he's like, yeah, we good. And then I sent you guys him like we talking Super Bowl. Like, I was like, whoa. But he's like, no, man, that's our goal. Like one thing at a time. But like, that's our goal. I don't think they're gonna go there, but I mean, I think they have a chance to make a real good run here. It's really crazy that we're even talking about this.
Well, and that's kind of why, like last week, I was pushing so hard against the idea that like belief was such a big thing because it's like that clip of Jamal talking about the Super Bowl was training camp. Like the belief was instilled in training camp. That's when you instill belief. If you don't do that stuff early, then like, what are you doing? No one comes into training camp and being like, so 3-14 again? Is that what we're doing? Everybody 3-14? Like, no, everybody comes into training camp like, hey, Super Bowl or bust. And it's the teams that are tough, that are disciplined, that are well coached, that can stick true to that vision. And what Dan Campbell has proven in these last 5 to 6 weeks is that he has established that and he's able to hold his team to that standard and keep them on track, never getting too high, never getting too low. And we've seen him say in the last couple of press conferences, like, no, he never gave up on this team. He just knew that they needed to execute better, that they had to do the right things on the field. And when they did the right things on the field, like he's been saying, they can compete with anybody. And they're showing it. Now the question really...
You're also not getting on Pat. You're also not getting on Pat McAfee, like making jokes. Like, dude, he's back on McAfee. I mean, come on, like, there's something here.
Well, sorry, yeah, I mean, you can, you can fit that into your schedule when you're winning. Nobody wants to see you on Pat McAfee if you're.
That's what wins in the
season. Yeah, like no one wants to see that.
So then, Miko, then what's because I think I've bought into your idea about execution, but that's exactly what Matt Patricia said. We just have to execute better. And it was like, well, my scheme is right. The players aren't doing it right. Is like, do you think
the schemes
like Ben Johnson and AG are just like that much better at their job than?
Yes.
I can't even remember that. So like that's straight up like just 100% just what it is.
What? 1,000%.
Okay.
That they are better. Hold on.
They're just straight up better at their job.
I'm so glad you asked that. They are better at teaching. They are better at preparing. Like,
yes. Mentorship,
building relationship. They are better coaches.
Yeah.
Than anything Matt Patricia and his staff did. Aside from Ben Johnson, who was a part of that staff. But everybody else, you sucked at your job.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
But you look at how this team, these last 6 weeks, I'll ask you this: like, has this team looked unprepared in any game over the
No,
last 6
That's
weeks?
true.
No.
That's true. No, they have
Have they
no.
not.
like they've been caught off guard? Have they looked like something wasn't covered in preparation
No.
for a
No.
game? That right there is clear, definitive proof that Dan Campbell is a better head coach than Matt Patricia. That
Nice. Yeah.
that this entire coaching staff is better at the details, at pointing out the things, and putting their players in better position to succeed. Matt Patricia basically told on himself when he was here on why his scheme didn't work, because it was his scheme and it had to be played his way. It didn't matter about the players. It didn't matter about
Yeah.
responsibility. It was play my scheme my way.
Imagine if we still had Slay. Like,
Oh my
like
god,
what?
dude.
Like what? Like it's one of those things that one really burns me. Is like like really
And or Diggs.
now. Well, but I give them both credit. Like f you, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm out. Like
Yeah.
of course they want out. Like knowing what we know now.
What do you mean? They got
Yeah.
kicked out. They didn't ask out. They got kicked out.
No, they got kicked out because they were like, I'm
Yeah.
assuming Nico. They were
You're a
like,
clown.
You don't know. Yeah, you're a clown.
You're a
Like,
clown.
and
Yeah,
so
but I
he
just
wanted
think,
to
like-
get everybody out. That's like, tell me I'm a cop. Like, you're bye later.
Well,
Like-
what I mean is like the idea that like, because I think Diggs and Slay both have been very upfront with like, I love Detroit. I loved my time
Right.
in Detroit.
Right,
Didn't
but
really
not-
want to leave Detroit. But when you have a head coach and a GM that's like, well, it's either my way or the highway, then you got to go. Now,
That's what
I do
that's
think
what
that
I'm-
is. I do
that's
think
what
that's
I'm trying to
needed,
say.
though. I do think that's needed. Dan Campbell's had that approach, right? It's either you're rowing in the same direction as us, or we're going to let you go. Like,
Jamie
don't-
Collins, Brashad Perriman.
right? Like, we don't have time to do those things. But the difference is
That's not a Slay. Though.
none of those players
That's-
mattered.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Slay.
Right.
Like Slay is like crushing it in the Eagles. I'm just that's all. I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get off topic. I'm just that was where I went. Sorry.
No, you're
Not
fine. But
sorry.
like,
Not sorry.
but no, I think one other thing that I wanted to hit on, like as a takeaway from the game, and Scott, you kind of mentioned it a little bit with trust, is we are seeing the same level of trust between. I believe that we're seeing the same level of trust develop between DJ Chark and Jared Goff that we saw between Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff last year.
Yeah.
DJ Chark in back-to-back games has had over 90 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is starting to click, and Jared Goff is starting to trust that, like, you know what? You're going to be at this spot. You're going to be like, I
Yep.
can trust to give you a chance. And I don't know. Maybe it's injury that slowed that process down. I don't know. I do think Jared Goff needs to start getting there quicker with his receivers, like proven receivers too. Like, it's not like DJ Chark was a rookie. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could have scouted his tape to know what he does best. So part of that is that you just kind of gotta start a little faster with some of these guys, and you gotta start giving them opportunities. You can't just keep feeding the guys that you're most comfortable with.
Miko, I'm with you, but here's the thing, right? And I think this is where people say Goff's the guy forever. Okay, not forever, but for now, he's the guy that's going to get the timing down, right? I think Goff can get the timing down for Chark. He did for Amon-Ra, and look what that is. He's got it down for Chark now a little bit. Get him the timing down for JMO, right? He's got Reynolds. They've been like, it's all timing for him. Like, because I feel like he's not a perfect quarterback, like we've talked about. So it's got to be a trust thing. Like, I have to trust you're gonna be there because I don't know. Like, there's a lot of unknowns. And so to me, that's why I think this is all coming full circle, is because of that trust, because of that, right? Like we talked about Chark in him in preseason, right? And Miko, to your point, I do think it was the injury that delayed it a little bit, and also Chark's confidence. And so it's crazy to see what's happening right now. It's crazy. I don't know.
What was crazy to see for me was Jamison Williams, not only that wide open, but I remember when we played the Dolphins and we were like, oh man, can you like
Tyreek Hill?
seeing Tyreek and being like, can you imagine just like this offense with a receiver that fast? And Jamison Williams he literally like stopped
He
at like the
pulled
2-yard
the
line. He slowed down to like a stop, and the ball
Yeah.
landed in his arms, and then he just like walked in, like
We
because he
said
was just
this. We said this. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. He'll be so open, he'll stop and catch it and go.
yeah.
Joe,
He'll be
we said
that far. He'll be
We'll go
that
back
far
to the footage.
past the safeties.
We have the footage on this. We'll have to dig in.
Yeah.
But no, we said this. He's like the next Tyreek. Like he'll be so fast, he'll just stop, catch it. Like no problem.
I love that Goff owned that throw. Like I'm glad he was like, yeah, I
Oh.
could have thrown him a better ball because I was like, when I
Nico?
saw it, I was like,
He
bruh,
tucked it.
that can't be
doing
that can't be it.
terrible toss.
Yeah, well, with a guy like Williams, it's just like launch the fuck out of it, and like he'll just get it. Like, he'll run it down. It's like a dog with a frisbee. It's such like greyhound with a frisbee, man. He'll rip it.
Well, and it was also great play calling. Like that play of having Saint Saint run an in route and basically having Jamo run a streak, and it's just like
they bid on Amon Ra and nobody covered JMO. He was right. That's
I
didn't even look at him twice.
And I think you'll get more of those type of plays from JMO, and I think you'll see that more and more where you're gonna have to pick your poison with this team. You're gonna have to choose. Okay, do you want to cover Saint and give up Yak, or do you want to give up the touchdown to JMO deep?
Who do I know this is getting into another topic, but who do we think Sauce is going to cover?
Hold on, time out real quick to respond to that.
Okay.
That's what is up to Goff, Nico. Goff has to make that decision, and then we'll know, right, if he's making the right one or the wrong one. Like he's gonna have those decisions now he didn't have before.
Right? We even had a couple other ones in this game that didn't include JMO. Like I think there was the well-timed route that you talked about to Chark, where Chark cuts in and he throws it before Chark breaks open. Khalif ends up like busting
being wide open down
deep.
He was wide open for
and
for
it's
TD,
just
right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Right.
And
so
it's
that's
like,
what I'm saying. It's like Goff's got to like, dude, that's where a good quarterback versus a great quarterback, that's a dime touchdown. Like
it reminds me of the quote that Dan Orlovsky gave about Matthew Stafford, where he was like, Matthew, why didn't you make this easy throw like on this, slant route? And he was like, well, anybody can make that throw. You can't make the deep throw though. So I want that one. Like, I live for the day where Jared Goff has that type of swagger where he's like, no, I'm taking the touchdown.
Damn.
Yeah, I could get the 8-yard, slant route. No. JMO's deep. Give me that one.
Yeah. Leslie, love to see just JMO get worked in. Love the crowd. We want JMO. That was awesome. And then he scores the touchdown and he just stands there like Don Cherry with his arms wide and just gives the ball to his dad.
I was waiting for him to break out the crane because I was like, what's going to be his touchdown? And he didn't.
But Miko, thank goodness we didn't print those tees. Like he did not. I don't think he'll do it. He might not do that.
He may not. He may find something new, being in the NFL, but like it's also his first one. It's like, hey, I'm finally here. Soak it all in.
It was, I get goosebumps like watching that, him running up and down the sidelines, giving the ball to his dad. 1, 2, 3 high fives, then running by the cheerleaders, then going to like it was for a guy that gets injured. So I have no comparison to this, but I do. The first game after I broke my leg in half, I played. It was a preseason game. I scored a goal in the first 20 minutes. We celebrated like we won the World Cup. It didn't matter. The whole team knew that I was like, I shouldn't be there. I could barely get through preseason. I scored a goal. It was a dime too. Ripped Hans Ripper, like upper 90. Like that means upper corner for those that don't know, upper right corner, upper 90. And I scored a goal. And I was like, everyone was like, and the team was like, who cares? Preseason. And it was like, no, it doesn't matter. We were going. And so when JMO did that, I was taken back to that moment, and it was very special for me. My main man. The real number 9. So anyway,
Don't
all I
be
gotta say about that.
Don't be disrespectful.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking? What do you mean? What am I talking about?
I mean, Goff's got pretty good numbers compared to Stafford. Just saying.
Great.
Let's go.
Didn't do it for 12 years here. Shut up.
Yeah. There's a lot of history. Like, I'm actually with Miko here.
Oh, okay. Let's see what happens this season. Let's just see what
How
happens.
about we happen after 10?
Yeah. I mean, dude went through the. I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna say anything else.
But one thing we do got to continue to talk about is that this team. Yes, you should. This team is now in the playoff. I mean, we still got games to play. We have the Jets this week. We have Carolina. We have the Bears.
Tough question, Miko. Will the Detroit Lions secure a play? Oh man.
I mean, I feel like at this point the Lions have to do one or two things. They either have to run the table, obviously, or maybe they can afford a loss, but they need a lot of other teams to lose as well. Gun to your head, you gotta bet your life on it. Plant a flag right now. Do the Lions secure
gun to my head?
Yes.
Gun to my head? No. No. Gun to my head, no, because we get effed by one of the other teams. Like Seattle wins a random game they shouldn't.
Yeah, no, that's sorry, go ahead.
No, all I'm saying is I think that one of the other teams, like Washington or Seattle, they win a game they shouldn't, and it's really annoying by a call at the end of the game. I think we get effed on that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So gun to my head, if I have to survive, gun to my head, no, we don't. Now, do I think we can? Yes, I think we can. I think we're on the table. I think we lose one game for the remaining. And so
that's not running the table. So you think they drop one game?
I think we drop one game. I think. And what's funny is I think it's a Packers game, which is annoying, but I do, because that's. But I hope I'm wrong. Here's the thing, I need to bet against us and we win. But
that's true. No,
true.
I think, to answer the question in a roundabout way, if they don't make the playoffs, I don't think it's on them. I think it's because, like Scott said, that tie between the Giants and the Commanders a few weeks ago was statistically, metrically, one of the worst possible things that could have happened for our playoff chances. So now, if Seattle does something, Commanders, Giants, if something happens fluky, then we could still win. We could win out and still not make the playoffs. So I think cards on the table, I do think we win out, but it's still going to take some luck. But gun to my head, do the Lions secure a playoff? The Lions secure a playoff spot? Yes. Just because everything just seems to be going going back to the conversation with my dad. He kept waiting for the fourth quarter collapse and it didn't come. I feel like I'm on cloud nine here with this team, and because it does feel so different. And in years past, they would not secure this playoff spot. They would drop some fluky game. Something else would screw us out of that spot. But I don't know, and it just seems so different. We got Sewell catching passes to ice the game. I don't know, man. Gun to my head, yes, we do secure the playoff spot.
I'm with you. Gun to my head, we secure a playoff spot because of all the things that you said and the things that we've said prior to this, earlier in this podcast. This team is not the same team. There is a level of preparation that's here that hasn't been here in decades. There's a level of execution that hasn't been here in all three phases. I just feel like this team is humming at just the right beat. And it's not, we talked about this last week about hey, they can't get too high, they can't get too low. And this was a perfect game where we would have had a good barometer. Are they too high or are they too low?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a game, divisional opponent, egos could have gotten high, tempers flare, and you see them make mistake after mistake after mistake that gets them buried. But Dan Campbell just has a presence about him that I believe that he has these guys just being listen, it's one play at a time, it's one series at a time, and it takes everybody, right? Some position groups or some players may have to step up bigger than others. This week it was Jared Goff. Last week it was the receivers with Jacksonville. certain things may have to happen. Certain groups may have to stand up and play a little bit bigger. But I just have this like confidence that I didn't have a couple weeks ago. That I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
like,
We were trying to get you
Wow.
there. We were trying to force it.
Wow.
well, yeah, because like, listen here, dude, I can't do the blind faith thing anymore with Detroit sports. I refuse to do it. I gotta
Mhm.
see it. You gotta prove it game in, game out, even in losing efforts. But you gotta prove it. And that's what they've done over the last 6 weeks is they've proved it. They've gone out there and they've punched teams in the face. They've dragged teams to the deep end and they've proven these aren't last minute comebacks where you're like, whew, luckily they got this bounce to go the right way, or this happened, or luckily this. No, no, no. That turnover that Isaiah Buggs got forced it. Like that's execution. That's delivering a hit. Forget delivering the hit. The way he chucked the guard to get into the backfield, like this isn't
Dude, that was
fluky stuff.
awesome.
He's
That was-
improved
that was-
so much.
That was big man football. Like, I mean,
I was
me-
so
that was-
happy that the
that was
look on
one
his
of those
face.
moments where it was like, oh, you're gonna try and do something fancy, and everyone's like, don't do anything fancy against the Lions. You did something fancy. We got them in the one moment they tried to field themselves, right? They tried to touch themselves a little bit. No, 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 don't touch yourself. No, we're guardians here. No, get
This is
out
a
of here.
workplace. This is a workplace. Don't touch
workplace.
yourself.
We're doing
This
business.
is a family environment.
No, but
Yeah, it's a
seriously,
family-friendly
that was-
workplace.
It felt like that. Like, hey, we're gonna F around. No, we're working here. And they made it like, dude, that to me was like, we're doing business and you're effing around. That's what it
Yeah.
felt like. And after that, the game never felt out of reach, in my opinion.
The
Yeah.
look on Bug's face when he held up that game ball that Campbell gave him. I sent it
Oh.
to you guys. You guys, it's online.
Oh,
Just search. Someone did a side by side of Cliff Kingsbury's locker room victory speech versus Dan Campbell's victory speech. And dude,
Right.
Cardinals won and Kingsbury's giving a speech. You can hear a pin drop. Like you can hear people like shuffling around the back. It's dead
That's-
in there.
Dan does not need a piece of paper to tell him who the game. That was
his
my
O
big
line
thing. It's like,
played well.
yeah, let me look here. Who's the game ball? Oh, hold on. Let me get my paper. Dude, Dan Campbell's like, dude, these are like, I know what's up. Like, and Cliff King was like, let me look. Oh, yeah, we did okay. Oh, this guy gets the game ball off here. Excuse me. I can't read your writing. Can't see too well. For those
But no,
that
so
know.
then Bugs just so proud, and then also Decker,
Hanging out
like
by the river.
Bugs and Decker,
Mhm.
like Decker had that tweet after the game, just like, man, football is fun, and like that dude's been through the ringer. I feel so glad for him, and I'm sure like Bugs has had, I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm sure he's probably bounced around from team to team.
Sure. Yeah.
And like just the fact that like all these, like, it's fun. To Scott's point, Jamal dancing, the whole team, he's got the whole team dancing, and it's just yeah, it's just fun. And like Nico, to your point, like it's not that there's like even these fourth quarter comebacks. Scott's vibing.
No, I'm
It's
doing this
not these
small.
fourth quarter
He
comebacks.
just
Like
does a little.
it's not that we're also to that we're different. Like we're not winning close games against Jacksonville. Like I think like years past, like that's a squeaker. We're
Mhm.
obliterating Jacksonville. We are, and we're like
What? Go ahead.
multiple scores against Minnesota.
What?
Yeah.
Go ahead. That was it. That was my point. Go for it.
Okay. So all I want to say is I don't think we're obliterating. What I think we're doing is we're winning the game. Right? We're winning the moments we need to win.
40-14 is
What? Yeah. Stop.
Yep.
What?
Hold on. Though what I'm trying to say is we're winning the moments in a game. You know that every NFL game has moments where you're like, oh, this could go either way. What I'm saying is
fair.
we're winning those moments. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, at that point, you win that moment, you win the game, and yes, it can get out of hand and whatever. But like in Minnesota, like, dude, we lost that game. Dan's fucked up. He said, I have to live with that for the rest of my life, forever. It's the worst decision of my life, whatever. And he fixed it and he did it. And we were home though. Like I'm just saying, like, it is closer than like in my opinion, every NFL game is closer than it says. That's all.
Sure, but the last 6, nah, it ain't been that. It's been a lot of the Lions imposing their will. The last like real nail biter kind of was the Bears game,
Yeah.
but they put up 21 in the fourth. Like it went from being like, oh, this is a nail biter to oh no, they put it to bed. They put it to bed quickly. And so it's been that the last few weeks. Jacksonville was domination. This Minnesota game was domination. I disagreed at the time, and I still don't really feel great about using the word, but even Green Bay was a certain level of just imposing your will and not allowing Green Bay to ever really get into a rhythm to where they could be successful. And Buffalo, you had that. That game was in your hands to win, if not for a Jamal fumble. Really? If we're being honest?
But Miko, let's go back further. A lot of games are in our hand to win this season. Like that's like early in the season, right? Am I?
Yeah, but we're talking about what they're doing now. Like
I know,
John and our point about them dominating now is that's
okay,
what this is now.
yes, but like we've had chances all season to do that. I'm just clarifying, like, yeah, like the Bills game was a game like the Minnesota game we should have won. We should have, could have won.
Well, I think in
No?
Dan
I mean, am
Campbell's
I
press
wrong?
conference. Well, no, like Scott, to that exact question, Dan Campbell addressed this in a roundabout way in his press conference just today, and he said, man, you know, early on in the season, we were just like a few little things. We were those few little things away that kept us from winning. And in the early bit of the season, we were doing them wrong, or we were making those mistakes, and we're just not we're not making those mistakes now. So those L's are turning into W's. And so I think Scott, like,
those mistakes.
To your point, well, he's also not in a position where he is like forced to choose between the lesser of two options.
He is
either.
though. No, but he is though. He's making the right decisions now. Like,
Well, I don't. But I think to put all of that on, because I'm still very much in the whole camp that like it's not all Dan's fault. You gave up 14 points in the fourth and didn't score in the fourth. That's why you lost to Minnesota. You can sit here and you can.
We have an episode on the defense, right, Miko? But that was the defense.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's blame to go around. Dan carries the blame for that one because of that fourth down call. But there's blame to go around. You give up 14 points in the fourth quarter. You don't score in the fourth quarter. Like we talked, like to your point, we talked about in that episode. If they score at all, they don't lose that game.
We win that game, and then we're not talking about playoffs. We're like in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
So, but yes, they are winning moments. But it's also not even just winning. Like John was saying earlier, they are gut punching. They are stomping you into the ground and taking your soul out of your body to let you know, no. This ain't no game no more. Like,
Miko, they're not only doing that, they're injuring everyone. Like, how many people go off the field after you play the Lions? When you play the Lions, you
lose a kneecap.
3 guys. Like, thank you. 3 guys are off your team, injured, IR, out for 3 weeks. Like, dude, they hit hard. We've talked about it.
Yeah, it is again this team embodying everything that Dan Campbell has said that they are, and they're doing it from kickoff. It's being tough. It's being physical. It's imposing your will, and now they go up against a team that is just as capable of as they are.
All right, here we go.
Great segue.
Here we go. Miko,
I mean,
you might get paid for this.
I should one day.
You should. That was smooth. That was smooth.
Clean.
So I've got a couple things. I did my homework today. I did my homework today, and I want to do this to tee us up.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
This whole segment for this whole New York Jets preview thing, because
are you
I'm going to come out.
John? Are you going to
start? I'm going to start with my score prediction. I'm going to come right out.
You can start with this. Okay, you can go now.
27-10 Lions.
What?
So
27-10?
27-10. Yes.
Did you talk to did you call Caesars MGM Sportsbooks on that?
No.
Did you
I
call
did not.
FanDuel?
No, I did not.
Can we get a boost on this bet? Like, please.
So I looked into who they beat. They beat the Browns, Steelers, Dolphins, Packers, Broncos, Bills, Bears. All in all, not that strong. They did beat the Bills. They beat the Steelers, or I'm sorry, the Browns week 2. When they beat the Dolphins, though, there was no Tua. And so some of those teams, Broncos, Packers, were dumpster fire. Bears, Steelers. I mean, these are all sort of bottom barrel teams. Bills, it's a great win. 2017. They did what we could not. And so I just looked into just stats, and I want to do for them what we've been doing for us. Like, I didn't want to be unfair and compare their entire season to our last 6 weeks. So I went for both teams. This is only the last 6 weeks. And this is where I think the game is going to be won for Detroit by the run game and the turnovers. So games where, in the last 6 weeks, games where opponents had 100+ rushing yards, the Jets had 5. So 5 of their 6 games, opponents had 100+ yards. 4 of those 6 games were for 120+. The one that wasn't was 99 yards. So they're basically giving up 120+ in their 6 of their last 6. The Lions have only given up 3. They only gave up 22 to Cook, 89 to Saquon. The turnovers lost by the offense, and this is where I think it's really important. The turnovers lost by the offense, the Jets have 8 in the last 6 games. 2 in each of their last 2 games. The Lions only have 3 turnovers in their last 6 games, 0 in the last 2 games, 2 against the Bills, and then you got to go all the way back to Green Bay in week 9 for the last one. Turnovers gained by the defense. I was shocked because everyone's talking about how good the defense is for the Jets, and they are. However, the turnovers gained by the defense in the last 6 games, the Jets only have 4. 0 in the last 2, 1 against the Bears in week 12, and then you got to go back to weeks 8 and 9 for the rest of them. The Lions have 11, 3 in the last 2 games alone. 3 against the Giants, 3 against Green Bay. Only 1 game all season have the Lions had a game without a turnover, and that was week 1 against the Eagles. And so I've got more, but I think we can start there. So yeah, I think the turnover differential, and I think this goes to what we were just talking about, how hard we hit. I think you look at all those turnovers. In that, I don't know how. I think there's a direct correlation between how we just pummel people and how they're fumbling, they're turning over.
So John, let me get this clear. You think we're going to beat their ass, is what you think?
I don't know how the scores are going to come. Like it might be like 20, or 14-10 and like 21. And then,
there's no way anything's 14. Like, no. You think 14-10?
No, I just said 27-10. But I'm saying, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a close game for 3 quarters and then say the 4th quarter,
okay. All right,
we pull ahead or whatever. I don't know how it's going to go, but I do think their offense, the Jets shockingly, Jets defense in the red zone has given up 19 touchdowns in 33 trips, which is 20th in the league. So I think if we can actually get into the red zone, we are number 1 in red zone offense. 75% of our trips to the red zone, we score a touchdown. So I think if we're capable of moving the ball into the red zone, there's a high chance we score. And I think if we can keep doing that, again, it's a big if. They are a good defense, but Sauce Gardner can only cover one dude. And
well, this is where Jameson Williams, in my opinion, comes in. Right. But
Miko's he's trying not to shake his head.
No,
it's like it's
go ahead. Go ahead, Miko.
So I have the score 25-10.
What?
Yeah. And it's because the Jets offense sucks. It literally has nothing to
It
do with the
depends if
defense.
Mike White starts. Like, so he's day to day.
He's got broken ribs. He's going to start and he's going to get hit by James Houston one good time, and then they're going to yo-yo him like they did against the Bills.
Yeah, probably. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so.
But I have a 25-10, and it really is because I don't think the Jets offense without Mike White, because I'm still not sure that he even plays. And if he does play, I don't think he finishes the game at all. I don't think their offense can put up points, and I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on their defense. They're good enough to hold the Lions under 30, just in the nature of just tough throws, pressure, things of that nature. John, you mentioned Sauce, and Sauce is not even the person I'm most worried about.
Quinnen Williams.
It's Quinnen Williams with 11
sacks.
As a defensive tackle.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's scary. That's pressure up the middle. That can potentially be a problem. But I think, to your point, I think it could be something where it is kind of tight, early in the game. But again, body blow after body blow, your defense not really getting enough rest because your offense is going 3 and out and things of that nature. Yeah, you can probably get them in the fourth quarter, maybe the third quarter, where you're able to start piling on some points and put some distance between you. But this is the game that has me very, very nervous, and I'm still not entirely sure if it's because I'm like that concerned about the Jets or if it's just because it's the next game and the Lions need every win they possibly can to get in the playoffs. I'm not sure which one it is, but when I look at this Jets team, I see a mirror image of this Lions team. The only thing that they lack is a decent quarterback, a quality quarterback.
And go ahead, go finish.
Well, because John, to your point, some of those losses, like they lost to the Patriots twice. One of those games is 3-10, and that's just because Zach Wilson was terrible, was a corpse on the field.
Yeah,
but their schedule isn't that much different than ours. They beat teams that we didn't beat. They demolished the Dolphins, even without Tua. It was with Teddy Bridgewater, but like
they put up 40. Yeah,
they put up. Thank you. Like,
and they only allowed 17.
Yeah, and then you go out there and you beat the Bills and you limit the Bills. Even if they lost to the Bills last week, it was 12-20. It wasn't like the Bills blew them off the field. That's with an injured Mike White, and they still like are kind of in that game. That's what has me concerned about this defense, is that this defense is stout enough to make you earn it. Like, it's not. I don't think this will be the Jacksonville game. I don't think it'll be the Giants game. I don't think it'll be the Minnesota game where you just keep kind of piling on points. This is probably going to be a grinded out type of game, and Dan Campbell's going to have to be smart, and he's going to have to be patient with this game, I think, more than any other. That it's going to have to be a just drag it out type of dogfight where it's just body blow after body blow, and get to the fourth quarter and see where you stand there. Don't get greedy early. I don't mind like the fourth down calls, like I've told you guys before. Fourth down, going for it on fourth down is really just a pass fail thing. If you make it, awesome. If you don't, all right. But don't feel like you have. I don't think this is a team that you have to jump out early on, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't think that this is that type of team.
That's a great point.
I agree.
For reference, about Mike White and his shattered rib cage.
Okay.
The Jets have allowed 31 sacks this season. The Lions have only allowed 19. So I think
their offensive line is not good.
It's not. It's not good. That's why he's injured, John.
You're right. Yeah.
Why he's got broken ribs.
Right.
If he were healthy, I would be a little more concerned.
Correct.
Because his connection with Garrett Wilson, his connection with
dude, he's got the team going. Dude, just in general, they fight for him, period. They want to work for him. They don't want to work for anyone else. They don't care.
Yeah, and that's why I said, and those are the things that make this team feel really reminiscent of ours. They have a coach that they believe in. They now have a quarterback that they kind of all believe in, and they have guys on defense that are like do your job, no nonsense type of guys. I would love to have a Quentin Williams. We don't quite have
Yeah.
that, but this defense at least plays together.
Okay. So, Miko, to your point, they have a guy they kind of believe in. The Lions have, like, this is where trust, in my opinion, comes in. They trust, I think, 27-24 Lions. And it's going to come down to the wire. And the money badger's he's gonna cement his legacy in the new Lions. That's, in my opinion, this is where the money badger comes in, and he wins the game. I think we're tied at the end of the game. I think it's a field goal, and he kicks it, and he makes it barely off the inside. Like,
This
It's
is
getting
I'm saying
so
left
specific.
post. No, I'm serious. I think that's where it's at. These teams, they are fighting for relevancy in the NFL. They're both rebuilding. They're both like, you don't think like Salah, the coach, it doesn't want to be like, I could have been like, they want, this is a prove it moment for both. And I think Dan Campbell wins, because I hope Dan Campbell is a better coach in which he lets everyone do it for him. And he just stands there and goes, and I'm just like, please don't make that decision, Dan. Like, I think that if Dan can let it go and do what he's done, I think they win. Right? I think Salah, we could have been in Detroit. We interviewed him, right? He could have been our head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is such a huge game for those two coaches more than anything else. Like, those two, like, this is who's better than who. And I think Dan wins. Like Jacksonville, I think he won that. Like, they weren't ready for us. But this one, they're going to pull out all the stops. And I think this is a field goal walk-off win. Lions.
Yeah,
Yes.
if Mike White was healthy, if Mike White was like going to be in there, I would probably like side with you on that because I do think he can get the offense humming in a certain way. If you're telling me that Joe Flacco might be in there or worse, Zach Wilson, yes, please put Zach Wilson in there. The dude who hasn't even dressed for the last 3 games. Yeah,
Don't-
give me that dude.
Don't tease me on a Baker Mayfield appearance, though. Come on, man.
Oh my God, right?
Don't tease me on that. Like, come on, Baker. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I don't get a guy that's
When
like,
when
I'm
has
gonna
when
prove
has
it, and I'm gonna
when
throw
has Zach
dimes all day.
when has Zach Wilson ever played to a Baker Mayfield level?
I'm
Ever.
not, dude. I'm not saying that, but like, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about Flacco. Like, I am slightly like he's won big games,
Yeah,
man.
none this year.
Correct, but I don't need him to like get mad and do something. Or
That
I'm
is
just
not
saying,
brand new line. You're being very unbrand new Lions right now.
no, what I'm saying is like, these guys, like, they can throw a couple dimes that hurt in a game. And so we have to literally win out and do everything perfect. And that's
Well,
hard
and
to do in an NFL game. Period.
I think that's the part of it where when you say like Dan has to outcoach Robert Salah, like that's the one thing I'm not worried about, honestly. Like the last 6 weeks have proven that Dan can do that. Dan has prepared better than any Lions coach that I can remember in recent memory. Like I know some people have a really sweet spot for Jim Caldwell. God bless you. But I don't. I never felt like those Caldwell teams were prepared.
Okay.
I felt like
but
those teams. I
Salah
feel like those
beat
teams.
the
I feel like those teams.
Patriots, right? He beat. Oh,
Yeah, but that's
he
also
can-
because his teams executed. Like his team. Like
Okay.
you say that you're worried about Dan making bad calls or making bad
No,
decisions.
no. I want to
Or
make sure he
you-
makes the right calls. Like, I didn't say.
Six
ahead.
of one, half
Look-
dozen of another.
Right. Thank you.
Stop it.
Distinction without a difference.
You, John. Go
But
away.
But the whole
John
point is we've also highlighted that Dan is forced into those situations when his players let him down. when Jared Goff isn't connecting on throws and when the defense isn't getting
Correct.
stops. And now you have to chase. And I don't, like I said, I don't think this is a game you'll have to chase. I think this is a game where, again, it's like a boxing match. Just keep jabbing them, keep jabbing them, keep jabbing at them. Go at the body, do whatever you have to do, and continue to drag this team. And like I said, Dan has that mentality already, and he's proven it. And so it's the one thing I'm not worried about.
Okay.
It's the one thing with this team that I'm absolutely not worried about. The thing that I'm worried about is this defense could potentially get after Jared Goff, and it's can he really? He showed it a little bit against Minnesota that he can handle pressure, but can he handle this kind of pressure? Can he handle
Miko,
this type of?
they're going to get after Jared Goff, right? Can we agree on that? They're going to get after him.
They'll probably get a couple sacks.
Right.
Yeah, probably.
So that's the biggest thing for me, right?
I mean, yeah, that's like I said, that's the biggest thing for me is this, can Jared hang in there?
Can Jared, right? Okay.
Can Jared hang in there and eat a sack if he needs to, right? If he just take the loss. And I think the Jets are going to play man coverage. So can you beat man coverage? Can you beat tight window man coverage type of throws?
And here's the thing, Miko, this is it. If we win this game, this, in my opinion, dude, we deserve to be in the playoffs, and let the chips fall where they may. But if we win this game, right, I think that we deserve to be in the mix, and then don't forget the rest. But this is a huge game. This is a playoff game. And if you don't think that Dan Campbell, and I'm not talking to either of you, but like in general, if you don't think that Dan Campbell's going to get these guys up for this game as a playoff game, I don't know who you are. Because I think that this might be, and it'll have to be, a playoff game performance. I mean, it is. It's the first, in my opinion.
1 game seasons, man. 1 game seasons.
Yeah. 1 game seasons. Boom. Speaking of eating sacks, you know what randomly popped into my mind the other day when I was driving? Do you remember when Jameis?
Oh.
Do you remember when Jameis Winston ate that W in his pregame like hype up huddle?
I was really wondering where the hell you were going with that.
Me too. That's how I'm just hitting like buttons.
I just like randomly it was unsettling. It was weird and like kind of creepy and like because like he put his like whole like hand in his mouth at one. I feel like at one point.
Yeah, we know what his Friday nights are like now. It's a little wild in the Winston household.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, eating W's.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Okay.
Well, yeah. I think we.
So 27-10, 25-10. What was yours, Scott? 27-24.
You didn't listen to me?
27-24.
You didn't listen? You weren't listening?
I just said 27-24.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep the streak alive, fellas, man. This is we're doing great.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
We're pretty close.
All of that, like all that energy for like the 99% of the show, and then at the end, we're kind of close.
Yeah, it's kind of close.
What are you talking about? I can just pick it back up.
It was low energy.
Yeah.
What was?
It was low vibes.
Energy. Sad.
All right. Close us out, Scotty.
Yeah, close us out.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I think the Lions win, and I think we're gonna have. Hold on. I think the Lions win. Like I said, field goal. But I think Detroit starts to burn this weekend. Like I think if we win, I think Detroit starts to like have this massive kind of flow of like, oh, wait, we're good at football.
Metaphorically burn.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, really?
You can't just lobby that up and just be like, like they win
with the history. With the history of the city and the history of Michigan State. And there's a lot of history with burning.
Maybe they should try and burn it. I don't care. Regardless, the Lions team is good. Maybe we should burn it down. I don't know. All I'm saying is that I think we went on a field goal, and after that, it's lights out. I think that the national media has to take it seriously. I think that everything changes in a lot of ways, but if we don't, I think it's one of those moments. So, anyways, I want to thank you, Miko. What's up, man? I want to thank you, John. Thank you for being here tonight. I know you have a lot going. I wanted Dr. Tom, but we'll get him because I'm going to go to his house. So we're going to do a live podcast. No, we're going to do a live podcast one Monday from his house. No,
bonus episode.
No. I'm live.
Scotty, Dr. Tom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, diagnosis the entire episode. I'll be on mute probably 90% of the time, but I'll have 20% of like, what, Tom? Hold on. Here it is. If the Lions beat the Jets, I will be at Tom's house for the next game. Who do we play the week after the Jets?
Bears.
Panthers.
Okay, Panthers. Sorry.
If the Lions beat the Jets, I will be there. I will do that. That's my deal.
Okay.
And I'll make him wear my Jamison Williams jersey. Yeah. Look at.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay. He doesn't know what to do. Okay. Anyway, Miko, John, love you guys. Family, crew, please go to Questionable Tees. We can get your stuff out before the holidays if you want. Anyway, Miko.
Yeah. Shout out to my family. Shout out to my girls. Always, huge thank you to everybody that's watching, everybody that's commenting, everybody that's engaging. We appreciate you guys. And yeah, go Lions.
Thank you to the family. It was a great visit. 4 days, tight quarters, but it was worked. It was great. Yeah, thank you to my wife and my daughter and my cat for putting up with it. My dad and my cat got into a little scuffle. That was the
bad? How bad? It sounds pretty bad. Wait, whoa. Time out. No,
dude, I gotta go. I gotta go.
What happened? 20 seconds. Go.
My dad doesn't like the cat was on the table, and my dad doesn't like the cat on the table, and so like he tried to push it off, and then it like turned around and was like, "This is my house. Like you are a guest in my house." Like had the hand up and like swat it and like was like ready to throw down, and then she just like hid the rest of the time, like
ready to hand up those skippity paps.
Yeah.
Ready to hand up the paps.
Clarence, the skippity paps. Clarence. Yeah.
Show. Tom got whipped by your cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that was the worst. But that was the worst of it. No, other than that, great visit. It's fantastic. Thank you to everyone involved.
This is why everyone needs to stick around to the end of the show. This is the Questionable Podcast. Out.